Hey folks, it's the Beard. We're here to talk about Assassin's Creed Mirage, the latest game in the 15-year series. Let's take a look. The first reason you should buy Assassin's Creed Mirage is if you enjoyed any of the earlier versions of the Assassin's Creed franchise. It is by no means a simple throwback, but the streamlined characters, attributes, and weapons ratings, while also confining the game to between 20 and 30 hours for playtime, make this game a lot closer to the original. Assassin's Creed Mirage traces back to its roots by traveling to the Middle East. This time you play as a character from the last installment of the series, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, kind of making this a prequel of sorts from the last game. The combat is back to a more simple approach, and the stealth is back, and it is the main focus. The last trilogy of Assassin's Creed seemed like brute force was a better option than a precision hit. This game will try to punish those who charge in too early with swords swinging, while patience and precision will be rewarded. The first reason you shouldn't buy this game is if you are worn out on the whole Ubisoft formula. This game will not revolutionize that same old discover a high point, unlock the map, then go find Person X and do whatever the hell they tell you with no thought.
So, gain entry into the auction and find the one behind this.
Mumtaz, you catch on quick.
There's little choice in the actual gameplay, so while it may seem like an RPG at times, it has very specific actions you will make. How you get from point A to B is where the choice exists, but with the exception for some different cutscenes here and there, the events that unfold in the game will happen that way no matter what. It is the same formula they have been using in many of their games over the last 15 years. If you didn't enjoy any previous Assassin's Creed games nor the Far Cry series, then just skip this one. It is a bunch of targeting missions, escort missions, and if you don't feel like that will tickle your proverbial gaming pickle, I wouldn't even try this one. The second reason you should buy Mirage is that the stealth is back in a big way. Now, I did mention the stealth mechanics in the first point, however, those mechanics themselves need to be mentioned. While the AI is in no way groundbreaking, in fact, they are still pretty dumb, the stealth is the focus. Although dumb guards are there, a swarm of those dumbasses can take you down quickly, so sticking to a silent attack is crucial to the success in the game. You can take multiple approaches to the same assassination, giving the player a sense of creativity and freedom that a good stealth game requires. Not only do you have the option to take any angle, you also have an assortment of assassin tools to work with. From smoke bombs to blow darts, it only gives you more options for each hit. The second reason you shouldn't buy Assassin's Creed Mirage is the not so great writing from the story. I don't want to bash someone's writing style, but the dialogue between characters is labored, and there is little growth from the main character outside the initial 1990s training montage that comes in the first hour of the game. Along with the vanilla story and dialogue, the voices just don't really have any kind of feeling. I am not an acting critic, but outside of a few main characters, it sounds like they just grabbed random people from The Office to read some lines so they didn't have to mess with the Screen Actors Guild.
You return at last.
What have you done?
What I had to do.
Is this what your freedom looks like?
I do not follow your creed, nor do I answer to the hidden ones. This is the price of war.
At its best, the voice acting is passable for a video game cinematic sequence, but at its worst, it is awkward as hell and just kind of clumsy. The third reason you should buy the game is because this version of Assassin's Creed is focused on the actual time period of the game. So the Animus, which for players who don't know, is a super fancy VR system, much like the one in The Matrix that Neo sits in, which the main character sits in the entire game to relive the past of one of their ancestors. Because of that plot point, there are a lot of parts in the previous games where you play as the main character in the real world, and it just really breaks the entire immersion, and it's boring as hell. The last 3 Assassin's Creed games were very enjoyable, but the annoying levels where you have to play as Layla Hassan in the present time just felt tacked on and unnecessary. Where in the original, it was a mind-bending moment when you find out the bleed-through effect helps Desmond in the present time, the recent games make the flash forward seem like a chore and something totally different from what you were doing throughout the rest of the game. It is the video game equivalent of getting water thrown in your face out of nowhere. It isn't the end of the world, but it totally snaps you out of the immersion in the game you were experiencing. This version nearly entirely avoids that, and thank the good Lord. The third reason you might want to steer clear of this particular title would be that Mirage is not a massive open world game. It has a large map, but it is nowhere near the size of the previous two Assassin's Creeds. The map is a lot more dense, and there is no focus on water travel or combat. The last three Assassin's Creed games had a lot of focus on the open water, and it seems Ubisoft removed nearly all of that for Mirage, which makes a lot of sense for a game that takes place in a city in a desert. But for those of us who enjoyed the massive, expansive regions from the last trilogy, we will be very disappointed. Again, the map is not small, it just doesn't have the feeling where you could get lost for days exploring. The last trilogy was more open. There wasn't always a lot to climb and parkour off of when you got outside of the main cities, and that is the trade-off for Mirage. Less map, but more to climb. If you really enjoyed those expansive maps and want the exploration aspect, then maybe skip Mirage. The fourth reason you should purchase the game is because of the breathtaking vistas in Mirage. It has been a staple of all the Assassin's Creed games, and Mirage doesn't disappoint. If you are worried that the drab coloring of the desert will make it look bland, you will be wrong. There are plenty of lush green areas, but more importantly, the background of the sand and desert really make the buildings and landscapes pop and look breathtaking. You can tell that no matter what the mechanics of the game are, Assassin's Creed will give you beautiful scenery time after time. The fourth reason you shouldn't buy the game is something that sparks my nerd rage every time that I encounter it. If you've noticed, I am a bit of a Trekkie and I am proud of it, but one thing that drives me absolutely crazy about Star Trek is their universal translator. Assassin's Creed makes the same mistake, and it just drives me absolutely insane every time. If something is being translated, then you can't use words that you are translating in that translation, because that wouldn't make any sense. Klingons say all kind of Klingon words in the presence of Federation people who have universal translators on them, and that's what you're hearing. So how could anyone in the Star Trek universe say the words kaplach? Kapla. Kapla. And Assassin's Creed does the same thing. I love that they're introducing culture and different customs into the games, but it doesn't make any goddamn sense. So stop translating and then add a word that's being translated in that translation. Just stop. It's stupid. Don't do it. That's a reason enough not to buy this game. A few bonuses. One reason to buy this game is, unlike the last game I reviewed and the next one I will review, is that this is not exclusive to just one console. Mirage is available to play on PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, the Xbox Series, Microsoft Windows, and Amazon Luna. Well, good for them. Another reason not to buy the game, good lord, are the faces bad. I don't know what happened between games, but it looks like they got whacked with the ugly stick one too many times. They are going backwards in the faces and forwards on the landscape. I just don't get it. I've been a big Assassin's Creed fan, so I did enjoy this as they went back to the basics. And I really like how their launch price was at $50 instead of the market norm of $70. Overall, I enjoyed the game, but I think there is plenty of room for improvement. I think the skill tree was too simplified, and they need to branch that out so players can have a more unique playthrough each time. They also just really need to improve the facial animations. They were ghoulish this time. And lastly, it just overall felt like you were moving slower than in previous versions, and that kind of slowed down the intensity of the game. But overall, I enjoy the stealth, I enjoy the exploration, and I enjoy the beauty of the landscapes. But make up your own mind, that's why I give you all these reasons to buy or not to buy. Thanks for watching, folks. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button and subscribe if you're not already to get more videos just like this. Don't forget to check out twohatsandabeard.com, and as always, check out our YouTube page. This is The Dove. We'll see you next time.